Are you ready to stop guessing whether a task should go to an AI or to an actual human person? In this video, I'm going to talk about the two mistakes that I see a lot of founders make, which is basically one is automating a task that needs complete judgment, and the other one is hiring for a person for a job that can be done with a skill in 9 seconds. The cost of each one, where you are automating something that needs judgment, is essentially losing a client, losing a trust, versus when you hire for someone for a job that can be done by a skill, you're essentially hiring someone for a salary who will now depend on you because you are their boss for something that you could have done with AI. This is something that I have made the same mistake myself even, where I would automate something and turns out like, oh, actually, never mind. This touches a human. This is something that a human would see, that the human would judge, that I would need to make sure that there's a human filter here, or the other way around, where I had my assistant doing a task that completely could just be automated completely. Both mistakes basically just come from the same thing, is when you don't know what to assign when it comes to assigning something to delegate or assigning something to automate. And this is essentially part of the framework that I've created, which is the BOSAI or BOSAI, where it's the business operating systems with AI, but it also is a step-by-step process of how I'm able to work with a lot of our clients to break down, again, what are the things that they should definitely automate or what are the things that they should definitely delegate. Now, in BOSAI, aside from it being kind of the name of it, it's also a step-by-step framework, where basically B is essentially the process of blueprinting or brain dumping with our client. What is their actual process? What happens X, Y, and Z? What are the contingency plans? Where are the assets and templates? And then going ahead and organizing all of those assets and templates. And if they already have systems written up, that makes the next process easier of systematizing their business, where we're putting a lot of things together into a actual workflow that makes sense for everyone else, that everyone can understand how X, Y, and Z happens, and making that whole process just creating the same output every time. It's basically creating repeatable results through the systems. And then the A is essentially what this video is about, is assigning what to delegate or what to automate. It's finding out what are the things that really need that human filter and what are things that can absolutely be taken over by AI. And the last bit is essentially integrating or iterating. It's making sure that we've installed these systems that they're actually able to use it and they're able to iterate or change things up when it doesn't align anymore. Now, if you notice, assign here, which is basically deciding what to delegate or automate, is actually step 4. That means that you want to make sure that you've gone through the first 3 parts of the process before you get to hiring anyone or before you get to automating anything. And this is why there's a study out there where 95% of businesses aren't seeing any ROI at all with AI. It is because they skip those first 3 steps, where they're supposed to know what it is that's happening inside of their business. They're supposed to organize it in a way that could be easily understood by both a human and AI, systematizing it before you start delegating or automating. This is essentially the case of knowing the how, so then you know who the who is. And a lot of the time it goes down to these 4-question framework that I ask a lot of our clients all the time, and I ask myself all the time. And you can basically think about it as its own little workflow as well. First question is, does it repeat every time? If it is a yes, it's basically the same result every single time. Yes, definitely an agent or an AI, whatever employee that you have set up. But if it has some variation, if it has some customization, that is definitely human. Anything that needs one more read through to make sure that it actually matches is definitely something that's human. Anything that can just be repeated and put out every single time because it will always look the same, that is AI. Second is, does it need judgment on people? An AI can read a transcription on a Zoom, after a call, but only a human can actually watch a video and see that the client is visibly getting pissed. So you want to make sure, again, anything that needs that judgment, needs that like, wait, this is not the right thing. I know the next step is clear. I know what to do next. But actually, because I am a human person and I can read the room, I have judgment, I know that this is actually the right next step. So again, exactly what I just gave you as an example, a AI can read a transcript, but a human can watch a recording of that same video that the AI just read and know that that client is not happy. Third question you want to ask is, how much does it cost when it goes wrong, when it makes a mistake? If the cost is too high, that's definitely something that a human should take over. If it's something like losing a client, if it's something like losing trust or relationship, or having a really, really negative review somewhere, that is definitely something that's human. But if it's something that is passable, if it's something that people probably didn't even notice that that it was created by AI, then of course, yes, go ahead and automate it completely. And finally, and this should honestly be question 1, but it only makes sense if I've gone through all 3 other questions, is this written down? Is there a system for this? Is there an SOP or a standard operating procedure, or even just a checklist on how this can be done? If no, then don't even try to assign, delegate, or automate any of it. You have to make sure that there is a written process of how this currently is getting done, what is the measurement of success, before you assign it to anyone or to an AI. And the biggest reason for this is you want to make sure that you know when it's going wrong. You want to have a benchmark of what good looks like before you give it to AI or anyone else that's human, AI, otherwise. Because you want to make sure that when you are giving something to someone, they can take ownership of it and they know what the outcome should be, so you can redirect and give feedback when it's not aligned at all. Again, the main thing you're looking at is repetition, you're looking at judgment, you're looking at the cost of the mistake, and you're also looking at, is this actually written down? Would I know if the AI sent the wrong template to the client because I have a list of templates, versus if the AI kind of just like made its own like little email and it actually does not make sense at all. A big mistake I see too many times is when a client goes ahead and automates things too early and they don't have an actual system that works yet, so AI actually goes ahead and fills the gap in the process. So it guesses, it makes things out. And the output would always look so confident, the output would always look that it's right, that it's perfect, but it's actually really just AI making things up so that it kind of looks like the output that you're looking for. But there's automating early, or there's also delegating too late, where you are paying a person to do a automatable task forever. You're having them stuck doing something that could just be easily taken over, even by just a simple tool. It doesn't even have to be AI. You just haven't gone through the process of checking again. Is it repeatable? Does it need judgment? And what's the cost of making this mistake? And finally, of course, making sure that you have it documented and written down. Now, the reality of it is that there's not really one answer. The ideal is that the human creates, the human has the idea, the human has the like inspiration, like, oh, I want to make this. The AI builds out the first draft and the human approves. AI sorts ideas and things and the human decides. AI can basically just do the first 90%, but that 10% is still very much needed a human. The split really isn't that which one of the tasks actually gets assigned to automate or which one gets assigned to be delegated. That's why for me, I have different agents working on different things inside of my business, but it's still ultimately one person at the very end making sure that it is correct. I have an inbox agent named Ella that goes ahead and drafts everything, reads through my emails, creates labels, but it still sends a report to my executive assistant, Honey, who sends the drafts, who double checks the draft if it's correct, if it's okay, if she heard that wrong tone in the Zoom call. And I have agents like Bibidi that repurposes a lot of my content. But again, it creates the draft, leaves it inside of Notion, and then it's up to my assistant Honey to double check if it follows our guidelines, if it actually sounds like me before it gets scheduled and published out. But the key thing here that I want to make sure that is clear is assign, when it comes to deciding whether you want to delegate or automate something, is the 4th step. You want to make sure that you blueprint things, that you organize essentially your data where everything else is, you create the systems out of it so it's easy for you to find wherever things are and be able to know if something is being done correctly or if something has gone terribly wrong. And then only you go ahead and assign. Because when you go ahead and go through the process of deciding if something should be assigned to AI or if something should be definitely human. And if you want a step-by-step walkthrough on all of this, go ahead and book your own systems audit and I'll walk you through this whole process and find out what are things that you should definitely automate or delegate. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below what are the tasks that you're stuck at, whether you're automating or delegating it. Let me know and I would love to help you out. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Thursday on how to grow your business, especially in the era of AI. And if you want to grow your career in the era of AI, you can check out my other channel right here or the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing and wonderful day, and with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!